Hello, this is Mrs. Pullen for Algebra 2. In this video, I'm going to review how to factor when you have an expression with 6 terms. So we're going to use grouping, and so I suggest putting the video on hold a second and writing down the expression. Now, we're going to use some type of grouping, and either you're going to pair the terms up or you're going to triple the terms up. I always start with pairing. And so I look at this expression and I'm going to pair them off and see if it works. So I notice my first pair, there's a common factor of x squared, and I'm left with x squared minus 9. For my second expression, I notice there's a common factor of 6x. 6x cubed divided by 6x is x squared. And 54x divided by 6x is minus 9. And now I'm going to go ahead and factor out the 8 in the last pair. And notice I'm also left with that common binomial of x squared minus 9. So I know this is going to work. So now I see that in this expression, I have a common binomial of x squared minus 9. And I am left with x squared plus 6x plus 8. Then you have to look to see, can you factor further? And I actually can. So if I take a look at that first expression, I see I have a common, I have dots, right? The first term is a perfect square. The last term is a perfect square, and I have a minus in between. So I can factor this to x plus 3, x minus 3. And let's see about the trinomial. My leading coefficient is 1, so I don't need to do anything fancy. I'm looking for two terms that multiply out to positive 8 and add to 6. Notice they're both positive, so what are my factors? I have 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Those are my only factors. And I see that 2 and 4 works. So this is x plus 4, x plus 2. And there you have it with this expression. Okay, again, here's another example where we have 6 terms and we're going to try to use grouping. So put the video on hold a minute to write it down. It's really helpful to follow along. So again, I would always start by trying to see by pairing and see if that works. And when I try doing that and saying, oh, well, there's a common factor of x cubed here, and I get x plus 3. But then when I try to do it for the second one, it doesn't work, right? I don't get the same thing. So I know that pairing them up doesn't work. So then I say, well, what if I were to triple them? Okay, so I look at all 3 terms and I notice that x squared's in common. And so x to the 4th divided by x squared is x squared. 3x cubed divided by x squared is 3x. Negative 10x squared divided by x squared is minus 10. And now let's look at the second pair, triple, I mean. And I notice that I don't want that negative here, so I'm going to factor it out. And I know 9 is in common to all those terms. So negative 9x squared divided by negative 9 is x squared. Negative 27x divided by negative 9 is positive 3x. 90 divided by negative 9 is minus 10. And now, instead of having a common binomial, I have a common trinomial, so I'm going to factor that out. Notice I put parentheses around it. That's the grammar of Algebra 2. Okay, and I am left with, once I factor that out, this expression divided by that trinomial is x squared. This expression divided by that trinomial is minus 9. and then I look to see if I can factor further. So I'm looking for two factors that add to 3 and multiply out to -10. And, if I go down the list, I have 1 and 10, 2 and 5. They're going to be opposite signs because of the negative before the last term. And I know I end up with a positive, higher number has to be positive. And so what adds to 3? -2 and 5. And x squared minus 9 is difference of two squareds or dots. So x plus 3 times x minus 3. And there you have it. Okay. Happy factoring.